Well, hey guys, welcome back to Chasing Life Outdoors. Before we jump into this video and get into the footage from my Kentucky trip, I kind of want to set the stage a little bit, my expectations for the hunt, what they were, and kind of why they were the way they were. So my buddy and Adam and I have been kind of planning this trip for a year and a half, almost maybe 2 years. So we went down September 14th through the 20th. My goal was to shoot a velvet buck. It was the second week, obviously, of September, the second week of hunting season, bow season down there. So we went, and back in July, I actually hurt my foot, ankle, and my knee. I damaged some ligaments in my foot, and I sprained my ankle, and I tore a ligament in my knee. So after weeks of going to the doctor, x-rays, MRIs, they decided that I was going to need surgery on my knee. This took probably a month. So going into September, from that time on, probably a couple weeks after, 2.5 weeks after I went to the doctor, they put me in this boot, and I had to wear this boot all the way up until the day before I had surgery, which my surgery was scheduled for September 24th. I decided to do it after our Kentucky trip. I really didn't want to cancel, and knowing that I was going to have surgery, obviously I was going to miss the whole month of October bow season, and maybe even the first couple weeks of September, and maybe even open day guns, or a couple weeks of November, and even gun season maybe. So I still wanted to do the trip, so I figured I'd go down there, gut it out, gut the pain out, and hunt. My expectations going down there was, never hunted out of state. I got my tag, 2.5-year-old velvet was my goal. Well then, right before we left, EHD actually hit the area where I hunt really hard, and there's been literally devastating the herd around us. So with the knee surgery coming right immediately when we got back from our Kentucky hunting trip, the deer herd around me is just not great right now because of EHD. I told myself, you know what, a 2.5-year-old 8-point walks in that's not in velvet, I'll probably shoot him. So Adam and I got down there on the 14th, roughly around noon. Spent the whole afternoon scouting. It was a Saturday, and we really couldn't find any sign in the part of Kentucky we decided to hunt. We were quite a bit east, and so then we decided that evening, we drove around to 15 different green bean fields and just glassed for deer. And I don't know, it was 14 or 15 fields, and we saw 4 deer total. We ended up running into a local before we went back to our hotel, and he said that just the deer population around there was not great anymore, that they'd been hunted really hard. So that night in the hotel, Adam and I kind of talked about it. I did a bunch of research, and we ended up packing up in the morning and driving 3 hours west. I booked another hotel, and then we found another about 4,000 acres of WMA management, walking management area, hunting area to hunt. And we scouted all that day, ended up sitting that evening, and I saw a doe and a couple fawns. Got up the next morning, Monday morning, and scouted all morning. And found some sign and hunted a spot, and I saw a spike. It was right by a cornfield, public land that WMA that connected, kind of butted up to a cornfield, and we actually had ran into the farmer. They were getting ready to cut it. Got permission if we shot a deer to go on his property and get it, whatnot. Really nice guy. Shout out to him for the conversation and all the info he gave us. Ended up seeing a spike that night. He had told us that they were going to finish cutting that cornfield the next day. They would be there about 8, so we ended up going out hunting on Tuesday morning right next to that cornfield on that walk-in management area. They were there from probably 8:15, cutting the rest of the corn to probably around 11. We didn't see a single deer. There were some deer tracks in there. There was definitely some sign, but not what we were looking for. So we ended up going and scouting another area late in the day. Immediately walked into this area. There was some mud and there was buck tracks, and we found a couple really good rubs. So we knew there was a buck in there. And I said, I'm going to hunt this spot tonight. And Adam agreed. It was probably the best sign that we had found after all the scouting we had done for, 3-4 days. Ended up getting up in the tree, and would you know what? A 2.5-year-old 8-point walks in. So I'm going to leave it at that. But basically, my standards were set pretty low because, obviously, like I said, the EHD is wiping out the deer population around me where I hunt. I was having knee surgery immediately when I got back, so no hunting the month of October, maybe even the first couple weeks of November. My standards were pretty low, and then we ended up not even seeing another buck after I shot this buck. And that was on Tuesday, and we were there until that Friday. So we did see a doe, a couple more does, but my buddy Adam did not fill his tag. So it was rough. This buck that I shot was the only buck that we saw. And I'm glad I shot him. I watched him for, 12 or 15 minutes or so before I shot him. I was back and forth. Do I shoot him? Do I wait for a bigger one? Do I try to wait for a velvet one? But with that being said, guys, that's kind of leading up to this hunt and my expectations for this hunt. I did have my knee surgery on September 24th, so I'm trying to heal up from that. And EHD, my buddy Adam and some other buddies are still finding dead deer around us, so it's probably going to be a dismal season, so I'm glad I did shoot that buck down in Kentucky. But like I said, with that being said, let's jump into the video. I really hope you enjoy it. If I could ask you to like and subscribe and share the video to kind of grow the channel. I'm planning on hunting some other states in the coming years. Hoping to get down to Illinois. I've been putting in for tags for South Dakota and Wyoming, so I've been putting in preference points. So I'm hoping to kind of put on more videos of my trips and even hunting around here in Michigan. But please, I hope you enjoy the video, and please like and subscribe. And with that being said, let's get to it, guys. Let's jump into the travel down there and a little bit of the scouting and the hunt itself. Thanks for watching Chasing Life Outdoors. Afternoon, guys. Welcome back to Chasing Life Outdoors. Oh, finally, it's day 2 here in Kentucky. We got down here yesterday afternoon, spent all afternoon scouting. Didn't like what we found. We ended up getting up this morning and driving 3 hours west. Scouted a whole bunch this morning, pretty much all morning, found a spot we like, and now we're finally in a tree. Finally. I gotta work on getting everything set up. I'm a little bit rusty, but it's day 2 in Kentucky. It's 4:55. Got about 2.5 hours of daylight left, and hoping to see some deer. There's a lot of runs right here, a cut cornfield in front of me and a ridge behind me, and some water, so we'll see what happens. But day 2, finally in a tree hunting in Kentucky. I'll catch back up with you here in a little bit. Hopefully some good film of some deer. But pretty exciting. Pretty exciting. First out of state hunt. Let's go. 5 days to go after this. Catch you with you in a bit. Good afternoon, guys. Day 3 here in Kentucky. We scouted all afternoon, like I said before, on Saturday. Pretty much all day yesterday, Sunday. Hunted in the evening. I saw a doe and 2 fawns. Then we got up this morning a little late. We slept in to catch up on some rest from all the driving, the 8-hour trip, and all the scouting. Scouted today. Ran into a farmer. Back behind me, he's getting ready to cut his cornfield. And this piece of public land here, this chunk of public land, butts right up to that cornfield. So we talked to him. He did give us permission to go get a deer if we shot one and it went onto his property. But he said this is a good little piece that butts up to this cornfield here. And he said nobody really gun hunts this piece of public or nobody bow hunts it, but they gun hunt it. So we've been the only ones out here on this private land. So hopefully we get it done tonight or see a good amount of deer activity, and we know we can be in here for the rest of the week. He's not going to get the corn done today, so he's going to be doing corn again tomorrow, so we're going to be back in here in the same spot tomorrow. Unless we get it done tonight, but it's like 88 degrees, it's hot. I'm sweating like crazy, but we're in this tree and we're hunting, and it's September, so I'll catch up with you in a little bit. My buddy Adam is sitting down from me a couple hundred yards to my right, so we'll see what happens. We're hoping to catch some deer coming out of this cornfield into here, some deer coming through here to go eat some of this corn spillage. But we definitely found a good spot, so we're going to sit tight and see what happens. Hopefully we get it done soon now. I think we got a really good spot, so I'll catch up with you in a bit. I'm going to get comfortable and sit and relax and try to cool off. Morning, guys. Day 4, Kentucky. I'm up in a tree, got up here this morning, all set up in the saddle. It was like 56 degrees, nice and chilly. I don't know if you can hear that, but they just started harvesting the corn behind me in this field behind me. I'm really hoping that it pushes some deer right this way, maybe a nice shooter buck. So I'm going to be brief and quick. Get on the lookout because they're coming pretty close already. They're running right towards me right now. So fingers crossed. Adam or I get a buck this morning here, but pretty exciting. Catch up with you in a little bit. Good afternoon, guys. Day 4, evening 4. Sat this morning on that cornfield that they were cutting. Thought maybe some deer would come out into the woods to us. They'd push a little bit of deer out of there. Didn't see a deer. Went and scouted another place that we had on the map, and we drove by once or twice and decided to come back in here and scout. Found a pile of deer tracks and found a fresh rub, really fresh. So I'm sitting here, that rub's to the left of me about 20 yards. And there's just deer tracks everywhere. My buddy Adam's sitting a couple hundred yards to the right of me. So we're going to sit here. It's shaded. There's a good breeze today. A steady breeze, consistent. So we're going to sit here. I'm going to sit here in this little section of woods that I found with all these deer tracks in this rub and see what we can see. The other night when we drove by on the opposite side of me, down across the street over here is a cut cornfield, and there was a bunch of deer in that when we drove by it the other night. So we'll see what happens. We're grinding it out. It's hot. I'm baking, sweaty, nasty, spraying down, but I'm in a tree in September, so I can't complain. We'll catch you up with you in a little bit, hopefully with some deer footage. down in Kentucky. Where's the zoom? Buck down in Kentucky. He's not a giant. My standards were a 2.5-year-old. I think he's a 2.5-year-old. I don't care. I got him. I got filled a tag in Kentucky. I just shot a buck. Yes, baby. Buck down. Thank you, Lord. Yes. Buck down in Kentucky. Yes. I'll catch up with you in a little bit, guys. I gotta get a hold of Adam. 22 yards. Kentucky. Yes. Record a quick little interview. Hey guys, we found him. Nice 2.5-year-old 8, tagged out in Kentucky. That was my standard, 2.5. And get him gutted and cleaned up and get him on tagged up and cleaned out of here. Chasing life outdoors. Perfect.